This is the story of what could have been a triumph of Italian science and aviation, but ended up being a bit of a dead end. However, it's a story that I think is worth telling because Italian aviation probably deserves much more attention than it receives. It began for me at the Italian Air Force Museum on Lake Bracciano, north of Rome, where I came across this intriguing-looking exhibit which, dating from 1940, appeared ahead of its time. Italy had been a leader in aviation in the 1920s and 30s, but by 1940 it was in danger of falling behind. Mussolini's government had used the aviation industry for social purposes such as employment, and the losses suffered in Ethiopia and the Spanish Civil War had diverted resources away from innovation. But when it came to the development of jet engines, Italy remained at the cutting edge. Although we tend to think of jet engines as being pioneered by the British or Germans, Secondo Campini, who was born in Bologna in 1904, was also at the forefront of development work on jet propulsion, and he created two motorjet-engined prototype planes, including this one currently on display at the Italian Aviation Museum. The other was dismantled by the British at Farnborough after the Second World War. It was effectively a mix of a conventional piston engine, which was used to power a compressor, to increase the air pressure, which was then mixed with fuel and ignited, with the powerful exhaust gases pushed out of the rear of the engine to propel the plane forward. In more conventional jet engines, it's a turbine which compresses the air, rather than the piston engine, as developed by Secondo Campini. I was drawn to the plane by its futuristic design when compared with even the much-loved Spitfire from around the same time. There is an Italian Air Force Spitfire near it in the museum. Secondo Campini's design was building upon the Italian futurists who inspired some aspects of Italian fascism, and in particular their love of machines and modernity, which featured prominently in art and propaganda of the period. It is hardly surprising that Mussolini insisted that Campini's plane flew over central Rome in 1941. So why isn't the Caproni Campini better known? Well, the simple and rather disappointing answer is that it wasn't very good and had a top speed which was just 2/3 that of a Spitfire. But it was a prototype which could have been improved had wartime demands on the Italian armed forces not halted its development. And what it did do was establish the proof of concept of jet technology, and that it had military applications, and, in this, it played its part in the future of jet-powered aviation. It also epitomised differences between the Italian and German approaches. Mussolini wanted to present Italy as being at the forefront of science, and used the plane for publicity, holding it out as the first jet-powered plane. In contrast, the Germans kept their equivalent planes secret, and the first jet-powered Heinkel had in fact first flown in 1939, a year before the Italian plane. The German plane was of course significantly better, and pipped the Caproni Campini as the first jet-powered plane. The British equivalent, the Gloucester, first flew a year later than the Italian Pioneer. Both Secondo Campini and the Caproni Campini plane deserve more recognition, especially Campini, who, after the war, moved to the United States where, amongst other things, he worked on the Northrop Flying Wing bomber. As for the other big players of Italian aviation, there are several examples in the museum from Fiat Aviation and its jet fighters of the 1950s and 60s. Much like with British and German aviation, the various Italian aviation companies were consolidated, with Caproni ending up part of Italian helicopter maker Agusta, and Fiat Aviation ending up in the Italian aerospace company Alenia, all of which are now part of the giant company Leonardo. I should also say that if you have any interest in planes, the Italian Air Force Museum is a superb visit, including a Eurofighter, an F-16, and many innovative Italian planes. As an added bonus, there are relatively few visitors and fine views over the volcanic crater, which now makes up Lake Bracciano. I hope you found this little video interesting. If you did, please like and subscribe, and there'll be another video along shortly.